Minneapolis City.
Post goals! What about that? What about
The People's Pitch Podcast, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
Wasabi, my friends. It's been a couple weeks, but John and I are both back from the dead and ready to get after it. This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the one and only podcast of your Minneapolis City SC. John, we were down for the count for the last couple weeks with a brutal cold that I'm still just getting over. I'm feeling all right, though. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I had a case of river ear.
That's right, the river ear.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about my trip to New Orleans, but the origin of river ear was I was sick before I left, and when I flew into, what is below sea level swamp, my ears never popped, so for a whole entire weekend, I had plugged ears.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah, and I felt really bad because I was meeting a lot of people for the first time, and I was just shouting at them because I had no volume because I couldn't hear myself. So, I had to introduce myself and say, sorry, my ears are plugged. I don't normally shout at people.
I've got river ear.
Yeah.
River ear.
So, of course, the guys from Oklahoma coined it river ear, which I thought was pretty funny, even though we were in a swamp.
I was going to say, well, it's better than swamp ass.
Yeah. So, New Orleans, the city that can give you river ear and swamp ass. But I'm great, Nate. I feel awesome to get back on the podcast horse and start talking soccer again.
Yes. And she is a fine filly. This, even though it's getting cold out, man, the news is always hot coming out of Minneapolis City headquarters. We're really starting to dive back into things as we head into the new year. And that means we're going to have plenty to talk about today, which is great. We're going to start planning the new season, wind down the calendar year. Today, we're going to start that with some great topics. First of all, John, you got the river ear because you were down in New Orleans at the NPSL owners meeting last week. So we'll talk a little bit about that, figure out what that is. And the college season has come to a close. So there's lots of Crows that flew away to get schooled and play for their respective NCAA teams. So we've got some news about them and how they turned up. Some of them picked up some nice postseason honors. Some of them are especially excellent. And of course, our annual winter player combine might be fast approaching, and our fun member event coming up this week, tomorrow or tonight, I guess, if you're listening on Thursday, which we will talk about. But first, John, let's start with something that you were, I'm sure, forced to do as a member of Minneapolis City Brass, and that is go to New Orleans and party for a weekend. You were there for the annual NPSL owners meeting. I want to pull back the curtain a little bit and figure out what all the top hat wearing elites of our league discuss behind closed doors. First of all, what is the owners meeting? Like, what do you guys get accomplished over the course of the weekend? Like, talk about yachts and stuff?
We actually were talked about riverboats because we did take a riverboat cruise.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was a dinner cruise. The first night I was there, it was pretty awesome. We got to see all of the industrial ports of the Mississippi River that flows through New Orleans. It was very majestic. But we don't necessarily talk about yachts. But I did get to meet Paul Boron, if you're a fan of NPSL Weekly. So the host of NPSL Weekly, Paul Boron, he is equally as exciting in person as he is on camera. So that was. I mean, no, he's a nice guy, but didn't necessarily pique my interest to say more than hello and try to snap a picture with him. Yet he was he kindly declined because he was taking so many selfies with people. He just wanted to eat his dinner. And I happened to just, after a few drinks, stumble up mid buffet.
Right.
So sorry about that, Paul. I'll have better timing next time. But Nate, each year our league gets together before the winter to accomplish quite a few things. Most notably, the recap of the previous season to kind of talk about what happened, what went well, what didn't go well, as some things don't go well every year. So we did that. We discussed pressing issues, both broader at the soccer level, so like national level news that might impact our league. Or how our league can impact United States soccer, and one that pertains, to our league in an open system, Pro Rel. So that there was some discussion on that. There's an introduction to the expansion team, so that's why we were invited last year as an expansion team to the league.
Oh, okay.
So you get to meet the new kids on the block from.
So most of these teams have already had a year or a season under their belt, but
most teams, but there are some that are coming for the first time.
Nice.
They also elect the board of directors for the year, so it's a yearly seat. I believe it's regional, and there's representatives from the Midwest. Sean Mann from Detroit FC was our regional rep last year, and I don't know who got elected this year. We'll talk a little more about what I was actually involved in, but I do know they have the election for the board of directors, and then the discussions and plans about changes that we have as the teams get ready for the new year, what's new in the league. There's certain criterias that change, and expectations for the existing teams and the new teams coming in. So we talk a little bit about that, and
Right.
The competitive nature of the league versus, say, the USPSL or Peter Wilt's new league, and how we can stay competitive for getting quality players to stay within our ranks versus going to others. So that's kind of high level. I had an interesting role this year, which was to attend the meeting and literally go nowhere near any of the meetings. So I wasn't really involved in the when the doors closed. I was on Bourbon Street and walking through an art and music festival for a day. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got the cool end of the stick. Whereas Dan and Sarah were solely responsible for going to the meetings this year. And like I said, my job was simple. Come in late to the weekend, party really hard, make a bunch of new friends, and then leave early. And let me tell you, Nate, I did my job really well.
That sounds like it's right up your alley, man. How did you dodge the bullet of responsibility? Because as a founder, you can be there, right? You're allowed to be there. Or
Yes.
did you just... have you been banned from any actual meetings thanks to incendiary comments that we may or may not have made on this podcast?
It takes a lot, from what I heard, to be banned from the meetings. So surprisingly enough, I was not banned from the proceedings.
Sweet.
There's a rule that each organization can't send more than 2 people to the meetings. So we're kind of an outlier where you have 3 founders and myself, Nick and Dan, and then you have Sarah who is our business director. So we have quite a few people that can attend these meetings, as well as last year, Coach Adam Pribble joined for the second half of the meetings when Dan had to leave. So you can only have 2 people. And as a result, since my focus, most followers to the show and the club know, I handle less on the business side of things. Since we've kind of hit our stride, and I concentrate more on the on the field product, managing the players, the player recruitment, the coaching staff, etc. So there really was no need for me to be there outside of broadening our network and kind of meeting other owners during the more social portions of the weekend. Sure. Which really, like you said, is kind of my strong suit, if you ask me. So
that's for sure.
I got a chance to tear up Bourbon Street for a night. Realize, Bourbon Street's not for me. I
Really?
Yeah, it's fun, and I had a blast. But when you have less of a filter than I do, or you have as low of a filter as I do for stopping when the times are good, I don't think I could handle more than 2 nights down there. To be honest with you, maybe younger John could.
Yeah. So you did just throw on the snap-on pants or whatever and go full party boy while you were down there, huh?
Yes, full party boy. I ended up getting kind of voted most inebriated in New Orleans.
Oh, that's a thing, huh?
Yeah, apparently. And I was given dowry, so I got free food.
What?
I got a bag of beers that our group could walk and drink when we went to the next place, and people were just giving me things, which was awesome. So I also made really great friends. But outside of wearing my party boy pants, in all honesty, it was really fantastic to be there. While the sessions were going on and the rest of the folks were kind of focused on hearing about topics around, pro rel, the owner and founder of Kingston Stockade, Dennis Crowley, who's also the founder of Foursquare, real interesting guy. He's also the guy that opened up the legal case against the United States Soccer and the open system. Oh, so he gave a talk on that. We also heard about the landscape of amateur soccer from the president of the USASA, which is like basically the president of amateur soccer in the United States. So he kind of resides over our fourth tier, and then all amateur adult soccer. And then there was also President Baroni, who's the president of our league. He gave a talk and discussed things like around branding, sponsorship, and then like minimal standards and such that each team has to abide by. But I was really able to meet and talk to other owners about how they run their organization, and I got a really great chance to talk to them about specific challenges that they face and how they're both either similar or different than what we go through as an organization.
Right.
And I think that for me was fantastic because I got to learn about, since I handle like the recruiting aspect of it, like how do other teams go about it, and how unique we are that we are fully local, and how that affords us incredible opportunity as an organization, but also has our own downfalls versus, say, when I met Jonathan from Little Rock, he has a completely different set of recruiting challenges where he has no players from a local area or very few, and he has to find housing. He has to trust, some coaches for references for players sight unseen.
You said Little Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
that's
Arkansas.
got to be difficult to recruit.
Yeah, and we also found out that he went full plaid with his supporter scarves this year. And,
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, so we're brothers in plaid. So we
buddies.
talked about that, and how we handle our social media and how we gain interest and memberships and things like that. So it was great. I really think that was fantastic from my point of view because I got to forge a lot of really great relationships.
That's
and
cool.
bounce ideas off of other owners. There definitely is a divide though, Nate, between like the older school owner and then the younger, more progressive ownership groups. So like and I think we fall into that category where, shocker, we're willing to push the norm and the status quo and be very unique and do our thing and have our own voice and own it. And there's a lot of members that are like us that and then there's a lot of owners that have been around, like Yusuf from the Twin Stars. He was a founding member of the league. So there's a group of owners that are like that have their agendas and their point of view, and it was very interesting watching the dynamic between the two kind of agree and clash at the same time depending upon the different topics. So
Right. I bet that like a lot of the younger teams have ideas about how to move the league forward and things they want to change, and a lot of these old owners are just like, whoa, slow down, everything's working pretty good for me here.
Right, exactly. And that dynamic was really interesting to see. Very much a potpourri of individuals. You have some guys that don't speak much English that are super old school.
Yeah.
And then you have an owner of an emerging tech conglomerate, and you have Dan and Sarah and I.
Yep.
So it was really interesting, and I enjoyed it. I definitely. In the future, I'd like to maybe have a little more of a voice on the inside, and I think maybe I'll be afforded that opportunity in the future. But my job was very simple, and I think also if users listeners of the show follow us on social, there's something called the Soccer Tour. Steve, is it Barasoni? Steve from the Soccer Tour. He kind of dropped everything and hopped in his van and then toured almost a full year and went to soccer games.
Well, yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah, so he was at one of our matches past summer. He spoke. He was invited by the league, and he spoke about his travels, which was another awesome thing to hear. since we're a national league, there are very few chances for everyone to see how kind of the other half lives sometimes.
Yeah.
So, you get people from the coasts that don't have anything similar to what we have here in the Midwest and don't have those challenges or don't even really know about us, or we don't know about them outside of, really social media or the weekly Paul Boron This Week in NPSL. So it was really great to hear about his project, and it really brought together the full landscape from coast to coast. So really, outside of partying hard in the city that hardly sleeps, those were a few of the type of things that were my big takeaway. And I think that really the last thing is, it was both parts awesome that we had a hand in this, but also a sign that we need to be more progressive as a league or a sport. There are only 2 female representatives out of the over 90 plus organizations.
Really?
With Sarah from our humble organization being one of them. So like I said, super cool for us to be part of that movement. But on the flip side, there's a lot of old ethnic men, including everyone's favorite New York pizza mogul from Rochester, kind of trying to one-up each other all weekend. So
I bet it was just like a swinging dick contest.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. But, that's how American sports are. So I can only imagine what, like, the NFL owners' meetings are like.
Oh, God. Because those guys have actual money.
Right.
And real power in the world.
Right, exactly. So it was our own version of that. But there was many great things to take away from that weekend. And I'm excited to take a little bit of the learnings that I took away from it. And then also, in the future, hopefully be part of that progressive group of people who desire to have change in soccer.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you listen to our show, I have a very distinct and pointed point of view that I think others would want to hear in more of an official capacity versus on Bourbon Street.
Really, yeah, just running your mouth in the bars.
Right, exactly. When I'm coherent and sober, I can actually formulate a good conversation about it respectfully. So that was the weekend, and then River Year. So, man, it was busy.
It sounds like the NPSL had like a program of speakers lined up. Like you said, Dennis Crowley was able to speak. There were some other people around. You said Steve talked about some of his travels, but like, I guess that seems pretty valuable. Like you said, to kind of expose teams from all over the country to what's going on around other parts. But like, are any issues officially discussed among the owners? Like, are there any problems solved or referendums passed or anything like that?
There are. I wasn't really privy to all of that. And I'm kind of glad for my first time going that I wasn't, because now I know what to expect going into it. But, like most things, it's very cliquey, and, I don't know how the board proceedings, the voting goes, if there's like, backhanded or backroom deals and, false promises and things along those lines like there are in other sports. But I'm sure there is. I wasn't exposed to it very much, but I think by and large, the great takeaway for people listening is that our league really does have its shit together. But also, like other leagues, there's things that it needs to work on. Yeah. So this is an opportunity to talk about how to be better. And I think the open system in the United States and not making the World Cup, it was like very much forefront. And how a tiered system and how we fit into it as a league and as individual organizations is really important to talk about.
Like as a league, how do we carry ourselves, or how do we when we do have to talk to other people about the tiered system, like how do we talk about us fitting into that?
Right. And you look at the players that come through our league. We have a player showcase, but how do we really use our platform as a way to foster growth for the game? And how do we elevate our better players to have opportunities to make a living playing soccer? It's important to talk about those things. And I think, like I said, that our league does have its act together, and that's a topic that we cover. And, like I mentioned too, like having a strong brand presence, so that we're not only individually strong, but we're elevating the league, as a group, each way that we can. So, yeah. It's good. There, I'm sure if you talk to Dan or Sarah, they have other points of view because they were involved in other things outside of what I was. But my takeaway was that, we're kind of the little guy in U.S. soccer, and there's no pretending that we're not.
Right.
But we're also organized, in a way or in a fashion that shows that we have our act together, which is good. Which is, like when you're in the PLA and there's 16 teams, it's totally different. The decisions that are made are quicker. So you get to see how, there's a little bit more red tape with our league, and it's more organized.
Right.
And we have competitors in, the USPSL that we have to compete against for players and for market share. And, and some of us are living in MLS cities. So how do we navigate, to represent our league in a crowded marketplace? So it was cool, man. I enjoyed it. I think it was good. I think good things are coming for the NPSL, and proposed changes for ways to move forward were brought up, and I think there's some good nuggets in there.
Sweet. So I heard rumors that there'd be an ownership pickup game. Did you get to get out there and kick any shins?
There were rumors. I brought a ball and all my gear, as did Dan, and the schedule did not dictate for us to be able to get out and kick around, which I think was very much so a miss when it comes to our league, because specifically, like I talked about, like the more younger progressive owners, like we wanted to do something like that, and I think in the future having dedicated time scheduled to maybe playing the game that we are trying to foster growth in would be awesome. And I'm going to be on my soapbox promoting that as far as I can for future meetings.
Huh. Well, sounds like it was a good time, man.
It was a good time.
Next year, I think we've got an opportunity to kind of, maybe Dan can be one of the speakers and talk about how to market the team and how to, gain a following and build it out of nothing. Who knows?
For sure. Yeah. And I think, maybe I can talk about how one of my topics. I doubt that'll happen, but, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll have a little more involvement in the years to come. But overall, Nate, great weekend. But like you mentioned before, we have some college players out there. As you know, by and large, our league is a summer home for college talent. When you look at it at a broader perspective. And although we have kind of a core of players on our roster that are out of school, we do have some college players that fill out our roster. And some of them had fantastic seasons this year. And now that all the divisions have come to a close, it's time to talk about that. So although these guys were off kind of cheating on us with school, trying to educate themselves, we wanted to touch on a few players that garnered team and individual success this fall. So first, why don't we talk about maybe team successes? What do you think with that? Okay, so from a team success standpoint, kicking it off with Goose. If you follow our social feed, excuse me, you would have seen this week that Goose was featured on NPSL.com in a piece about players that were in the College Cup. And his team, Indiana University, had an impressive run this season, which ended in a dramatic loss to Stanford this weekend. I don't know if you saw that at all, but
no.
Oh man. They had it. They played a very, very good Stanford team, and one of the guys on Indiana who you would not expect to make a glaring mistake tried to dribble out of the back, got stripped in overtime, and the golden goal happened. It was just kind of a bang bang play, and
damn.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but Goose was there in his first full year with Indiana this year, and although he saw limited action in his first year, he was one of the country's best teams, and he rode the red wave, I guess you could call it, into that final along the way, and he picked up some individual success as well, being voted first team all academic Big Ten, which is fantastic news.
Oh yeah.
And it really shows how well-rounded of a student athlete he is, and we're proud that he was able to have success both on and off the field this semester, and kind of carry the success that he had in being our joint top scorer this year, and going into being a student athlete and having success. So Goose had a great year this year.
Yeah. No, speaking of another guy that focuses on his academics quite successfully, if you're lucky enough to know college soccer at D3 level, it's really no secret that Messiah College in Pennsylvania is where it's at. It's got a pretty prestigious history. and that is the home of course, Samuel Ruiz Plaza. Now, going into this year, Messiah were a 10-time national champion from 2000 up to 2013, so they were like a powerhouse for quite some time, and that's like they never lost a final that they appeared in.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fast forward to 2017, and of course, Samuel is once again with the Falcons in the championship game, and they added an 11th star to their crest. They defeated North Park out of Illinois by a score of 2-1. So that's huge. Congrats to Samo as he ends his season on a high note. Surely high expectations entering his senior season next year. Much better way to end his season, his college season, than he ended his NPSL season.
Yeah, almost dying of appendicitis.
But congrats to Samo. Always great to see city players have success wherever they go.
Yes, and success continues, Nate, for our college players. So in his second year, Ian Smith, better known as Steve around these parts, he proved to become a regular kind of 90-minute player for the Phoenix of Green Bay in his sophomore season. And he was a part of a massive turnaround in Titletown where they saw the Green Bay Phoenix winning the Chancellor's Cup this year, which is the trophy given to the winner between UW Milwaukee and UW Green Bay. So much like the Paul Bunyan Axe, if you're a college football fan, between Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Yeah.
So they won the Horizon League version of the Axe in the Chancellor's Cup, which is the first time in quite a few years because Milwaukee's had a very strong program. They also finished the regular season champions and made it to their first Horizon League final, narrowly missing out on an NCAA tournament bid by losing to UIC in the conference tournament. So a very successful year for Steve, and only being a sophomore and gaining the level of minutes he did, and really kind of being the linchpin in the number 6 role. I think he's got a bright 2 more years ahead of him, and so does Green Bay.
Yeah, that's just awesome for Steve. And he does definitely value the playing time that he received at City. And we'll talk about that in a bit, but he definitely attributes that to his success at Green Bay. So rounding out the list for team successful teams, is Hastings College in Nebraska, home of Nick Hines. Now, of course, he makes sure everyone knows how successful he is, talking about how he won the national title, or his team won the national title in 2016, and he returned this year ready to add another ring to the fingers, but it was the dream was cut short in the round of 16 for Hastings College, but Nick did score a fantastic goal in his last match as a student athlete. I think the impressive thing to note for Nick is what he did at Hastings in his 4 years there. And that is one NAIA National Championship in 2016, 2 NAIA Championship final appearances, 4 what GPAC is their conference regular season championships. So they're regular season champs for all 4 years. 3 of those seasons they were GPAC tournament championships. I mean, overall, while he was there, that's a 77, 10, and 6 overall record. That's super impressive for Nick. Congrats on the career success at Hastings College. Really proud of the guy and hope to see him back with the team in the summer. But on top of team success, there are tons of individual honors to report on as well. And starting with our guy, Kevin Hoof. He is all GLIAC honorable mention at Northern Michigan University on the field, also academic for all regions. That is, of course, the Great Lakes Interathletic Conference. Remember, Kevin Hoof was the guy that ends up going to Northern Michigan to basically help them found a soccer program. He's a sophomore captain on the team and a anchor to the back line. All the best to Kevin Hoof at Northern Michigan, and another guy that we hope to see back on our back line in the summer.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, how many more times can we say you got hoofed? There's never enough.
Exactly. I was going to say hopefully many more times.
Right, exactly. The next guy, everyone's favorite pickup from the open trial last year, Max Kent, had a great second year at McAllister College. if you watched any of their games, it's pretty much Max locking down the back line and then their team getting lucky to hit on the counter and score a goal. He was all over the place for the Scots and was rewarded with first team All MIAC and then second team All Region, which I honestly think he was robbed out of first team honors if you ask me. But Max, again, a great student athlete and a great guy on and off the field and really a true competitor and really kind of willed his team into the MIAC championships, and it fell short losing to Will Kidd's St. Thomas team, but Max got some pretty good honors there this year as well.
That is for sure. And then of course the king of individual honors for the season, our guy Brandon Bai. He is closing in on perhaps being the most successful college player in the history of the Crows, and he only was with us for half a season and was injured for half of that half a season. So we were super happy to sign him. We knew he had a talent on our hands, and unfortunately, due to all his success, I'm pretty sure he won't be back next year because he is
right.
He is possibly going to be fighting for a roster spot on an MLS team in the not too distant future. So truly lucky to have met and got to see Brandon Bai play here in Minneapolis. He was, of course, a late comer to City. He made a major impact scoring in his first game during a rut that we needed to get ourselves out of. That was great. Let's just do the stats from his last college season at Western Michigan. Do the talking. He, of course, led the Mid-American Conference in total points with 29. Explain points to me, John. That's goals and assists.
Correct.
So what do you get? A point for a goal on the stat sheet and a point for an assist, or
I think it's
2 and 1.
2 and 1, yeah.
Nice. He tallied 12 goals in 17 matches. He is a MAC play. He's the MAC Player of the Year. He is a first-team All-American. He is an academic All-American, and he was a semifinalist for the Herman Trophy, which is the award that goes to the College Soccer Player of the Year. That's like top 2 college soccer players in the country. This guy is a stud, and you can find him. You can follow him at the Midwest Pro Combine. You can take a look. December 18th and 19th, this weekend, he will be appearing at the Midwest Pro Soccer Combine. There he is, right there on their player profiles page, as one of quite a few frontliners invited, but there he is, number 1, Brandon Bai, alphabetically, right up top. This is, of course, the top talent from all over the country that will be, top talent from the Midwest region that all the MLS scouts will be arriving to look at. So best of luck this weekend to Brandon Bai. Hope you get some looks, and we hope to see you on a pro squad in the not too distant future, man.
Maybe one in our backyard.
Maybe, hopefully. Hey, homegrown talent? No, that wouldn't count. But still, that would be pretty cool. Hey, hope we didn't leave anyone out who was honored this year. Of course, players, we love you all, no matter who you are, as long as you're playing for City.
Nate, we have one more thing to add from a player perspective before we go and move on to our next topic. We're going to be publishing a series of articles that are written by our players about their time with City and what it really means to them. So these the articles we posted on our website. So look out for those to get a deeper look at what the players think about what we've created and how awesome their time has been with us. And maybe some of these guys are moving on, maybe some of them aren't. But get a firsthand look. Under the sheets, I guess you could say, from a player perspective, very, very much so, Players Tribune style. If you follow the sheets, if you follow the Players Tribune, and our first in the list of the series is Ian Smith, which will be out in a few days, talking about his development as like you mentioned before, his development from being an 18-year-old playing, now moving into his third year in semi-professional soccer, and really what he gained from having the opportunity to play with City as he moved from being a boy into becoming a man boy. So keep an eye out on the social for all of the goodness that's going to be coming out with those articles in the not too distant future.
Looking forward to it, man. Hey, John, winter break is on the horizon. starts next week for most kids if they're not already if they haven't already started now. Of course, we're going to see a lot of college guys coming home. They're going to want to hook back up with City. They're going to want to get some reps in, maybe do a little practice. I remember last year we did some winter trainings, and if I remember right, you organized a tryout or two over break. Are we doing a winter combine again this year for college players to be invited to?
We are, Nate. We have, I guess, to kind of cycle back through kind of our tryout process and how we identify players. So, we had our open tryout, and from our open tryout, I believe we selected 5 players to move on to kind of a more progressive, more structured round of tryouts with, with some of the core players on our team. So, that's kind of, in the calendar, from a calendar perspective, that's kind of the first pass of tryouts that we have. Yep. But doing my job, I probably watched about 200 college games this fall. Some in person, some online, majority online, obviously, because I can't travel to every game.
That's dedication to the tape, John.
Yeah, it's not my full-time job to be going gallivanting all around the country watching college soccer.
But it's like your full-time job on ESPN3 watching all the college games. Jesus.
Right. Or watching some of the Division III schools that have production budgets that rival ours. so I did the due diligence of identifying Minnesota born or Minnesota raised players, and I've spoken to dozens of college coaches, and we're gonna be bringing in over the course of 4 training sessions starting the week after Christmas. We're bringing in we're bringing in around 52 college players that have Minnesota roots that will be coming in to not only be identified, maybe some younger guys that are freshmen, sophomores that are not ready yet, but they quickly will be ready to compete at our level. But the identification process is the hard part. So those guys will be coming in along with the open trialists that we identified. And the guys that are, our core players that are returners that are going to be in town. So, all in all, like I said, over 50 players that are going to be coming in, and we're really excited to see these guys kind of stack up against the existing players that we know of, and see if we can't use this as a stepping stone to bring in more quality or identify quality for the future. So. Yeah. Super excited for it. It's kind of my Super Bowl, I guess you could say, where I get to see the fruits of all the labor from a recruiting standpoint, getting these guys in and seeing if they can compete.
Man, I would love a sneak peek into some of these sessions, John.
I might know a guy who can make that happen for you.
I got some time on my hands over the week after Christmas.
Well, it's going to be one a week for 4 weeks. So so I'm sure I can make it happen for you.
Sweet. Hey, man, let's talk about this event at Summit that should be taking place tonight, the night that this podcast is coming out. I'm excited for it. You're excited for it. It is the now basically annual Minneapolis City holiday event at Summit Brewing. Hey, it's kind of part membership event, part pop-up shop. It's all beer chugging goodness. You got to get down to Summit tonight. That is Thursday, 12/14. And you can meet up with your fellow supporters, chat up some players, pick up all the new, fresh City gear. That is right. Tonight on Thursday is the first night you'd be able to walk up and purchase. If you didn't pre-order, you can walk up and purchase some of the new City kits that were so unbelievably hyped over the past couple weeks. It's just going to be a great time. And, of course, drink delicious Summit beer. Let's get some details, man. If you want to get there, it is from 6 to 8 p.m. at Summit Brewing in St. Paul, Minnesota. We're going to have all sorts of stuff at the pop-up shop, including T-shirts. We're going to have inaugural kits, so that's last year's kit or the year before. We're going to have beanies, hoodies, new kits. So that means the will call items that you've pre-ordered will be available to pick up. If you want to pick up your membership cards, membership scarves, things like that, that'll all be available. Of course, beer specials from Summit, and player cameos, because I know there are a few players that wouldn't miss those beer specials. Really, it's got everything. If you love Minneapolis City and you really love being a part of a small club with a real community feel, this is the event for you, because you get to talk to all your fellow supporters, talk to your players, talk to the owners, talk to Sarah, talk to me, talk to Dan. John, unfortunately, you won't be there, but I can pretend like I'm you, or I can bring the John puppet that I keep in my trunk. And
it's not a voodoo doll. It's a puppet.
I could do like a Jeff Dunham like ventriloquist act at your expense. It's gonna be great. So please be there tonight, Thursday, December 14th at Summit, starting at 6 p.m. We will see you there.
Well, unfortunately, newly crowned national champion Samuel Ruiz Plaza just had his 21st birthday. So too bad that he won't be in town yet.
Perfect opportunity for him to,
yeah, perfect opportunity to have his first beer. So if you see him down there and he is in town, buy him a beer. Welcome him into the Drinkers Club.
Yeah.
So that is all that we have for tonight's show, folks. Although it seems short, it was packed. Thank you, as always, to our sponsor, Summit Brewing Company. We will see you soon, Summit. Holiday season is here, so drink some beers with your family. Stop on down to your local liquor store or watering hole and get some of the famous Summit Winter Ale to share. It is delicious. Don't be a dummy. Buy some Summit.
Summy.
Don't be a dummy. Buy some Summy. That one's free, folks. Minneapolis City memberships for 2018 are now available. I believe the price goes up soon, or it already has gone up.
I think it's slotted to go up the new year.
So it's still on sale, as cheap as you'll get it. $50 before the new year, $60 after. It gets you a ticket to every home game, any future home U.S. Open Cup games. Who knows? The 2018 membership scarf, the member card, and as Nate puts it, a place at the table in Soccer Valhalla. Make it happen, folks. Important. This is the cheapest sports value in town. Head to mplscitysc.com and check it out. This is the season for giving, and we love to give back, but we need your help and support of the people. If you're looking to align yourselves with a fine group that loves to give back, you are in luck. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that does good on and off the pitch, and of course, every donation, big or small, is fully tax deductible. So consider giving to the club that gives back. Hey, again, thank you for everyone who gave to our GoFundMe for the U.S. Open Cup. We really appreciate it. Your donations do matter. If you want to get a hold of us, we've made it super easy. Send us a note on Twitter at The People's Pitch or through email at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. We promise to answer all questions, comments, and concerns. And you are welcome to send us a note. And finally, as always, you can hit up the club at MPLS City SC. Maybe find out more about what the heck went on at those member meetings when I wasn't involved. That is all for this week. Once again, we leave you with our new house MC. This is the one, the only current Minneapolis City player, Miles Stockman-Willis, who goes by the creative name Malaise, with a track called Moves, produced by a thing called 808 Mafia. I am John. That is Nate. You are the people. We heart you people. Cheers. You got
Motherfucker, just trust the process. All these dudes do is talk, so I'm not that talkative. Too busy hitting blunts till my body deprived of oxygen. Solo dolo anonymous, skill is real like I'm Solomon. I'm confident that we ain't the same like a homonym. We're not. My girl just woke up looking like she modeling. Feet up on the ottoman, about to feel her collagen. In times of division and negatives, be positive. Since a teenager, did it major like a college kid. Thought I was the dean, getting debits, filled schedule. 16's worth 18 credits, got credentials. Wallet filled, cream cheese, lettuce, bills, presidential. Burning gas, unleaded, embedded in the mental. I'm a rare thug, give the bag a bear hug. Take the Donald's daughter and make her vacuum my prayer rug. Ballin' excessive through 24s on a Roomba. Equipped with extra batteries cause I got rooms, bruh. Boss among bosses, never have to be debris. Not a man of many words, all my sentences are brief. Give a rapper a halo, I'm like Commander Chief. Have the music lit, the way that I be decoding beats. Body coated, all in Gucci, lungs coated with the key. Styling on y'all with the styling. Clorox wipes for the sneaks. About to explore her sheets. Broke, I can't afford to be. Smoking on a Christmas wreath. Wrist look like a coral reef. Valet tried to kill himself the way he suicided. I appear in the club up like I'm scuba diving. Look at me, fly no autopilot, none. Making moves in private. Treat her like I don't need her. My main bitch more like a sidekick. Can't wait to meet my maker. Maybe then become the savior. Shawty thinks that I can save her, cause I never shop at Savers. But the way she sucking on me, thought I was a lifesaver. Never get blue balls, only blue on me is on the paper. Soul blacker than Kodak, throw back in a throwback. Cut me down, I just grow back. Giving facts and you know that. Ride it like she on horseback, life a movie like Bojack. All this lean on me, no fat. Pimpin' shit, sipping cognac. With a big ol' rock resting on my nuts. Got me doing pinky ups. 3 bills on the custom chucks. Thinking about haters, wishing there was a new emoji. Thinking about my ice, wishing I had a Zamboni. Fiending for the power, the Immaculate sitting on the throne. Meditating in a mandala made out of cobblestone. Get $1 million, couple friends that I could probably phone. Turn the crib to the Middle East the way I'm getting stoned. Bros, in my zone, always alone. Future sewn in my bones, leapfrogging over stepping stones. Frogger, to each his own, but boy, you better check your tone. My life a work in progress, still I'm shining like construction cones. So incredible that they still waiting for the sequel. Like a scalene triangle, cause I don't really have no equal. Damn. Look at the money like high bay. Grind until I say hi, sway. Doing me like Do Ray in a Supreme North Face. Get to home base, no foreplay. Asshole in my aura. Flow is swimming like orcas. Freely wink, call me Oprah. Have my mom's off the coast up. Brazil chillin' with Costa. Fruity drink on her Costa. Flossing out all that okra. I got the moves. You finna lose. I make beginners lose. I make the masters lose. I make the legends lose. I make the game lose. I got the moves. I got the moves. You finna lose. You finna lose. I make beginners lose. I make the masters lose. I make the legends lose. I make the game lose. I got the moves.